When life goes sideways and your life is like sliding down an icy highway doing loop-de-loops, how do you respond? Do you go down that victim spiral and go crashing into the guardrail? Or do you grip that steering wheel, turn into the skid, and recover? I was thinking about resilience today and how I go about building my resilience, and what do I do when I'm actually in the problem or in the challenge or in the adversary. When I'm facing that adversary, what do I do? How do I respond? Today we're going to talk about what I do beforehand to build resilience, and then what do I do when I'm actually deploying resilience. Now before, I copied down a couple of notes here I'm going to be looking at. Before, these are the 5 things that I do. I build a network. I have a strong network around me. You know how much I believe in proximity to individuals, because through that proximity, I can solve a lot of problems. I have a large real estate proximity, business proximity, like-minded individuals. Your network is going to support you when you hit that challenge. When my mom passed away, and I was sitting in that funeral parlor, it was so much easier because I had so many people around me. I was supported in that moment. And that's what your network will do. Your network will have people in it that you can lean upon, people that you can inquire their knowledge and tap into that. Tap into their past experiences. So building your network now, actively, intentionally, before you actually need it, because you can't build the network when you need it. I couldn't build the people around me when my mom passed away. I couldn't build the people around me when I was going through COVID and they shut down my business. I had to build that network prior to actually needing it. How do you build your network? You give to it a hell of a lot more than you take from it. That's the best way to build your network. When you find people, like-minded people, people that you resonate with, just pour into them. And that kind of puts chips in the bank for when you need the support of the network. The second thing I do is I build confidence. I'm a big guy on building confidence. I'm a problem solver. My partner said that to me one day. He said, we're just problem solvers. That's all we do. I'm like, what do you mean? He said, well, he's retired out of the Navy. And he said to me, in the Navy, I would get promoted. And when I got promoted, all I had to do was I had to solve bigger problems. But each step was, I'm just solving problems. And I thought about that in my career as a police officer and a fireman. And I realized, yeah, that's kind of what I did. People had a problem and they called me and I came and I solved the problem. The fire went out, the arrest was made, the report was taken, the advice was given, guidance was given, whatever it may have been. But I was just there as a problem solver. Real estate's the same way. Business the same way. I'm a business owner, but really, I'm just the guy that solves the problems no one else can solve. Hint, most of the time, they can solve their own problems. They just need a little guidance. You just gotta kind of like nudge them in the right direction. The third thing is accept that change will happen. Change is inevitable, right? There's only 2 guarantees in life: death and change. It's not taxes. I know you thought I was going to say taxes. Death and change are the only 2 things that are guaranteed in life. Things are going to change. You are going to have adverse challenges in front of you. Just accept that. Accept that you can't control everything that's going to happen. You can't control that change will come along. But what you can control is how you respond to that change. COVID's the perfect example for me. I was open 9 o'clock in the morning, closed 4 o'clock in the afternoon. That was the change, the challenge that I was facing at the time. And what I learned from that was I need to bulk up my other streams of income. So what I really took from COVID on a personal level was I have to make myself more bulletproof because I just lost a stream of income. And that's when I pivoted and I responded to that, not by crying about how I lost income, but by bolstering my real estate holdings. And now I have another stream of income, multiple streams of income now. But if I would have just went down that victim spiral, I would have been blaming everybody for everything. So the way I build resistance is I understand and accept the fact that change is going to happen. And through the confidence that I have in being a problem solver, through the confidence I have of looking at other times I faced challenges and I made it through, that I'm going to be okay. Know your purpose is number 4. Knowing your purpose gives you clarity and it gives you direction. I knew that my purpose in life during COVID was that I was providing a service to mold little minds. And I also knew that after those little minds went through COVID, they were going to need a lot of support, a lot of loving, a lot of fun. And that was my job to provide for them. So knowing your purpose and being clear on that allows you to move in a direction. A lot of times you go down the victim spiral. You're going down that because you're always thinking about the negative. What if this happens or this is happening and now that's going to happen? And you're spinning out of control. If I don't know what direction to head in, if I don't know to turn into that skid, I'm going to bounce off the guardrail. So having your purpose and letting that purpose bring you the clarity you need to move forward. And accept that this is the fifth way I build resilience before it actually is needed. I accept that shit's gonna happen. And that shit happens to everybody. To everyone. So when it happens, do I ask why me? Yeah. I ask that question quite frequently. But when I ask why me, I allow that to trigger, well, what can I do to benefit from this? What is the silver lining here? What skill do I need to build, or what skill can I build out of this? I take solace in knowing that I'm not the only one that goes through this. Everyone goes through difficulties. It happens to everyone. It's not just me that this is happening to. I'm not the only one that lost a parent. Somebody else lost a parent. And if that individual didn't lose a parent, because I have friends that still have both their parents that are alive, but they lost something that meant a lot to them. They lost a grandparent, a relative, a really close friend, their best friend. So you could have empathy for them and they could have empathy for you. I'm not the only one going through, and fill in the blank, bankruptcy, divorce, separation, business failures, somebody stealing. I had a friend of mine, they walked away with over $500,000 out of their business. Like he could curl up and suck his thumb in the corner, or he could get to work. He could get back to business. Does it suck? Does it hurt? Are you going to be down on yourself? Absolutely. but it's not allowing yourself to go down that spiral. It's catching you as you go down that spiral and giving you another direction to move. Clarity of purpose. Now, let's talk about when I'm in the adverse effect, the challenge, whatever that challenge may be. When I'm in it, what are some things that I think about? What are some things that I focus on? What are questions that I ask myself so that I can divert myself out of that challenge? The first is I reject the pity party. Pity parties turn you into victims. I'm not a victim. I don't go down that spiral. Do I say to myself, why me? Why this happened to me? I'm such a good person. I have all those thoughts, but that's where they stop. I don't allow them to continue on because that's not the direction that I move in. That's not what is going to benefit me in the moment. So one of the primary thoughts is, or questions that I ask is this benefiting me or will this benefit me? Whatever the action is, the thought is, whatever it is it benefiting me? If it's not, then I need to change my direction, my thought, my action, whatever it may be. Number 2, I focus on finding the open door. What's that mean? Well, you've heard the phrase, when one door closes, another door opens. Where is that open door? Because this door just closed on me. What can I gain from this experience? What's the open door? When my mother passed away, she was alive March 17th. March 17th is my anniversary, and it's St. Patty's Day. It's a really special occasion for me. March 17th, we'd all go to Mom's house. She'd put a big pot of corned beef up. She made fresh Irish soda bread. Nothing's better than Mom's Irish soda. It's so good that I make 30, 40 loaves a year, and I give them out to neighbors, friends, business associates. St. Patty's Day is a big day, and I saw Mom, and we sat down. We had a great meal. She was in great spirits. That was March 17th. The end of March, she was dead. Not just sick, dead. All of a sudden, she went to the doctor, and they found out that she had leukemia. And she did one of the bravest things that I ever saw. She refused treatment. She said, no, I don't want to go through that. I've seen what that treatment's done to other people. It's not for me. I lived my life. She was 85 years old. So she lived her life. She was like, I don't want to be remembered as this sick person. I want to be remembered as somebody that lived their life. And that's what she did. So that was the silver lining I took from that. Like, that's a really brave, courageous act to make. The third thing I do when I'm in the thick of it, I summon all my courage. There's going to be sometimes you're going to have difficult conversations. You're going to have to make a decision on a direction to move in. And people aren't going to agree with that. You have to have the courage to face the challenge. You have to, it takes a lot of courage to lean into that fear. It takes a lot of courage to be the bison and not the bull. We did I just did something on it, right here, bison and bull. And basically, the bison leans into the fear, the bison leans into the storm, and the bull or the cow runs from the storm and spends so much more time in the storm. It's so much more courageous to face that storm. Not always easy, but courageous. And sometimes you have to dig really deep and summon up every ounce of courage that you have. The fourth thing I do, I fill my cup. I know that I'm taking a lot of hits, and I fill my cup. I do self-care. I take care of myself. However that may look for you. For me, it's a lot of breath work. It's a lot of meditation. It's a lot of exercise. The more exercise, the more stress I'm under, the more exercise I have to do. So what's that look like? Maybe I actually take a step back and I start slowing shit down and I go for my walk or my hike or I go to the gym and people are like, what are you doing? You have all of this stuff coming at you and you're going to the gym? Yes, because if I don't fill my cup, if I'm not where I need to be, then I cannot lead, help, or make competent decisions. The fifth thing, I have intentional thoughts. Intentional thoughts. What do I mean by that? We spoke about how we get all of those victim thoughts that flood in. Why me? I'm no good. This is going to bankrupt me. This is going to cause all of these problems. And you're going down that spiral. I stop. I slow shit down. And I'm like, are these thoughts actually helping me? And if they're not actually helping me, then I replace those thoughts. I can't control the thoughts that pop up, but I can control the thoughts that I focus on. Thoughts pop up because I'm getting triggers from the environment. I can't prevent those thoughts from popping up. I don't really have control over that. That's happening unconsciously. But what I do have control over, and what I can train my mind, and I'm going to put it up right here. This is Air 3 Steps to Winning and the Triple F method. And those methods teach how to become aware of your thoughts and how to start reducing the negative thoughts and turning them more positive. And you got to slow stuff down. You have to really start paying attention to the present moment. So I'm intentional about the thoughts that I focus on. And the last one, I know the future is bright. How do I know that? Because I've been around for a little bit. And I've lived through the 70s gas crisis. Look, we still have gasoline. How about that? Right? Think about the Cuban Missile Crisis. Think about history, the Cuban Missile Crisis, and how Russia was coming. No, Russia hasn't come yet. And now it's China. China's coming in present day. Well, will they? They might. They may. They may be knocking on our doorstep, but they're not here. I'm not going to... The future's still bright, right? We lived through the dot-com burst. We lived through real estate tanking in... right after the dot-com burst, 2005, 2006. We lived through that. We lived through 9/11. 9/11 was horrible. I was on the physical ground. The ground shook, literally shook beneath my feet. Dust everywhere. You want to talk about thinking that the world was coming to an end? I thought that day. What the hell are we headed into? And now, 20 plus years later, 23 years later, we're still here. So when you're in that cloud, you can't see the horizon. You can't see the sunshine because you're in it. But you have to remind yourself that you're going to get to the other side. And when you get to the other side, the sun will be out. Life will be good. The future is bright. It's just going to take work to get to the other side. Guys, that's what I do to build my resilience before I actually need it, and what I do when I'm in the middle of it and I have to deploy it. How are you going to build your resistance? What are the things that you do to build your resistance? Let me know. Everybody's different. You could watch 100 million videos on this, and everybody handles challenges differently. Everybody builds their resilience differently. How are you going to build your resilience? Guys, we live up here in the numerator, not down in the denominator. Go out there today and be unstoppable and crush your day. I'm laughing because my pooch is here. I just woke him up. Crush your day, guys. I love spending time with you. Have a very blessed day.